Yes.
Ready? I call this meeting of the Williamsburg-James City County School Board to order. Can I, Ms. Urza, can you take the roll, please?
Ms. Cook.
Here.
Mrs. Cardasco.
Here.
Ms. Emanuel.
Here.
Mr. Fuentes.
Here.
Ms. Larson.
Here.
Mr. Nichols.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here. 3.01 certification of closed session. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, the Williamsburg-James City County School Board, while in closed session, discussed only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements as stated in Virginia law, and that only such public matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. Is there a second? Second. Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Urza?
Mrs. Cardasco.
Aye.
Ms. Emanuel.
Aye.
Mr. Fuentes.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Ms. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye. 1.01 approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the approval of the agenda as presented.
I appreciate that. Mrs. Manuel, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Urza?
Mr. Fuentes.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Ms. Cook.
Aye.
Mrs. Cardasco.
Aye.
Ms. Emanuel.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye. 5.01 announcement of superintendent's report. Yes, ma'am?
We missed 3.01 certification.
Oh, no, we did.
No, we
Didn't we?
just did that.
I did.
It's okay, Ms. Surza.
You're blowing
long
his
day.
record for a meeting. Hurry it up.
I think we did.
You're right, we did.
Okay, so I thought so too. Dr. Constantino, can you move us along, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Earlier today, J.B. Blayton was the site of a visit from the First Lady of Virginia. Mrs. McAuliffe came to the school to help kick off Farm to School Week with a tour of the school's garden and a lunch featuring butternut squash grown by Kelray Farm in Tuano. The Williamsburg Farmers Market set up a display on the power of produce, and everyone was able to meet the chef of the school health initiative program and taste the squash recipe. Soon we'll be posting a gallery of photos of the event on our website. It was a great morning, and well, I won't steal someone else's thunder. I think someone else is going to talk about the stickers. I'll let somebody else say that.
She's going to try it.
This month, our middle and high school students will be participating in the Gallup Student Poll. This is the second year that students in grades 6 through 12 have answered questions relating to hope for the future, engagement with school, and student well-being, factors that have shown to drive students' grades, achievement scores, retention, and future employment. Measuring and improving student engagement is an objective of the division's strategic plan. Now, with 2 years of data, we'll be able to compare the results and develop strategies to enhance student engagement within our schools. And finally, we've posted a survey on our website to collect input on the 2016-2017 school year calendar. I know that we just started school, but we start the calendar development process in October to give our community an opportunity to review and find some options and provide us feedback with those options. If you visit our homepage, click on the slide announcing the survey. You will then see a page with information about the calendar, answers to frequently asked questions, and the survey link. The survey will be open through October 23rd. That's all I have this evening, Mr. Chair.
Any other announcements from board members?
Dr. Constantino, why don't you tell us about the stickers?
I will. I didn't know if somebody else was going to talk about the stickers. I didn't. If you tried the butternut squash, you got a sticker that said, "I tried it." And several people here today are sporting "I tried it" stickers.
I have a list here.
Do the kids get these if they
Yes, they
try
do.
the different
Yeah.
vegetables? Okay.
To help kids try new things, there were some middle school students on hand, and let the elementary students know that if they tried the butternut squash, which was really good, by the way, they would get a sticker. And it reminds me of how important stickers are in elementary schools and how useful they are in helping students have new experiences. So it really was a great morning, just having Mrs. McAuliffe here. And what was amazing was that in the short amount of time that we were in the garden, the students had dug up about 50 pounds of sweet potatoes in the 10 minutes we were out there, just huge. those sweet potatoes will be cooked and served at lunch on Friday. So it really is the epitome of engaging students in learning and process, and it was a great morning. And thanks very much to SHIP and everybody who had a hand in helping us make this morning successful, and of course a very special thanks to J.B. Blayton and their staff for hosting us.
Absolutely. Mrs. McAuliffe was very engaged and very engaging to the students, and she read, I remember the name of the book, something about Grown in Virginia or something, but she read several pages out of that to the students and answered several questions, and got behind on her schedule because she did not leave when they said that she was going to leave. It was very good. Any other announcements from board members, Ms. Manning?
The other thing I thought was very interesting was the what do you call them? The teacher that is presents about the wellness specialist.
Yeah.
Yes, she gave a very interesting lesson on what butternut squash and its nutrition value, and that it has vitamin A, I think it is, that we all need for brain development. And the kids were really engaged. Oh, eyes, that's right. Kids were really engaged in that, and in fact, I overheard some of our board members discussing the nutrition lesson as we ate our butternut squash.
Yeah.
The little boy near me, when the wellness integration specialist said that there was vitamin A in the squash, he said, "That's okay, I'll try it anyway." That was great.
That was great. Any other discussions from board members? Moving on to 6.01, citizens' comments. Ms. Ursa, do we have any cards?
No, we do not.
Great, thank you. Moving on to 7.01, VRS Resolution. Dr. Constantino?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, before you is a required resolution by the VRS. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I know Mr. Baker is here and can answer any questions you have. But basically, we have to inform the VRS by the 30th of October whether or not we would like to continue with the VRS hybrid deferred compensation plan or run our own compensation, deferred compensation plan. This only affects those employees who are hybrid employees, and I think Mr. Baker can tell you a little bit more about that if you have questions. But after a lot of consideration, a lot of discussion, the recommendation in front of you this evening is to keep the VRS program with the deferred contributions. This is not an irrevocable decision. We can revisit this in a year. Mr. Baker, would you go ahead and add anything or take any questions?
It doesn't deal at all with Plan 1 or Plan 2. It's only for the hybrid plan, and it's only dealing with the voluntary contribution portion of the hybrid plan. So not the defined benefit part of the hybrid plan, maybe that people would call the pension, or the defined contribution part of the plan, only the voluntary part of the plan.
Might I remind you that you need to speak up?
Sure. Thank you. And we did analyze it. We reached out to other school divisions. We're not aware of any other school division that is doing this, that's going to create their own plan. And we looked at it. It's going to create more of an administrative burden, the fiduciary responsibilities upon us, and actually increase more fees for our employees and more confusion and less flexibility for our employees.
Heather?
Just wondered if you could explain, because this doesn't affect a very large percentage of our employees.
Correct.
And I just thought that might be a good thing to explain again.
Correct. It's only the employees in the hybrid plan, I guess since January of 2014, the new employees who are in the hybrid plan. So it's only those folks, nobody in Plan 1 or Plan 2. And what we're recommending is keeping it the same as it is and not creating our own voluntary contribution portion of the plan.
Ms. Manuel?
I just want to say that I think that's a very, very wise decision. Having served on the VRS board for 8 years, it's a very complex process, and it would not be to our advantage, and it wouldn't be to the employees' advantage, I don't think.
Any other board member comments? Questions? Okay, put this on the agenda for the next meeting. 7.02, Bylaws and Articles of Incorporation for the WJCC Schools Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This agenda item is asking for your approval of the the WJCC Schools Foundation Articles of Incorporation and also their bylaws. In the background information that we gave you in the agenda item, you'll see the Virginia Code, which stipulates, and the exact language of the Virginia Code. And the code further states, upon establishing or contracting with such a non-stock, nonprofit corporation, whether or not other organizations, school boards, or persons are involved, a school board shall, number one, review and approve the Articles of Incorporation and bylaws. We appreciate the approval of the MOU at the last meeting, and this is just another procedural step in getting our foundation up and running.
Board member questions and comments? Mrs. Cook?
Dr. Constantino, I believe we have some representatives from the foundation here. Would you be kind enough to introduce them?
We do. We have the president of the foundation, Clarence Wilson, is here, and
We have Judy Woods.
Judy Woods is here.
Patty O'Neill.
Patty O'Neill is here.
Barbara Reynolds.
Barbara is here.
And
Barbara
Aaron
Reynolds.
DeGroff.
And Aaron DeGroff is here. I didn't even see him. There he is back there. So we have several members of the foundation, folks who are giving their time, and thank you very much for being here.
And Mrs. Larson, too.
And Mrs. Larson.
Thank you. Thank you.
Questions or comments from board members? This has been a long time coming. We're very excited about that. We are certainly not breaking new ground here, as several of our neighboring school divisions have a foundation, and I know they've probably been inundated with requests for teacher grants after we announced it at the convocation. So I'm looking forward to it. Any other comments? Moving on, 7.03 School Board Advisory Committee appointments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Each year, the school board solicits members of the community and students for the Student Advisory Committee to serve on the advisory committees as are outlined in the agenda. The school board has also asked in the past that you see all of those applications. I believe all of those attachments have been shared with you in your content, and we will ask that you review this information and then vote on setting up the committees at your next meeting.
Board member, Ms. Squardasky?
I just want to say I'm very grateful that we got some. I believe our continued mentioning of it probably helped. I continue to emphasize that this is a very big impact that somebody could have for just a few hours, and I'm very appreciative that we had the applications come in.
I believe we were waiting on one name from one of the high schools, I think perhaps War Hill. So will that come
Yes, ma'am.
prior to the next meeting?
Thank
or-
you for reminding me of that. Yes, there were a couple of things involved in the student selections that we have to go back and work with the schools with, and that will be clarified in your next packet before you vote on it at the next meeting.
Great.
Great. Any other board member comments? These committees are very important to the board, and it's very good to see additional members coming on to these committees, the Special Education Committee and the Career in 21st Century and Career Ready Committee. I think that's a great sign. And of course, the Student Advisory Committee, it's always good to get input from them, and they are usually a very input
Spirited group.
Spirited bunch, yeah. So, okay. Put that on the agenda for the next meeting, 7.04, Contract Award IFB number 15-8246, Jamestown High School Running Track Resurfacing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I've also attached to your agenda a memorandum I sent you in September. As you know, the original bid for the Jamestown track, that contract ended, and we then, through procedure, moved to the second bidder to continue work on the track. And this, we're asking you tonight, in an unusual step, to both review and approve this later in the agenda. In the background information is the information about the amount of money that has been approved in the CIP, the amount of the original bid, and now the amount of the new bid to move forward. Mr. Snipes is here to answer any questions you might have. I know that if there are any other financial questions, I think Ms. Porter can probably help us answer them as well. But we are asking this evening that you review this and vote on it so that we can continue the work that has already started with the project.
Ms. Snipes, can you just clarify for the gathering public here what the issue is and what we're doing?
Good evening, school board
Good
members,
evening.
Dr. Constantino. The issue here is the original bidder could not finish the project, and so therefore they removed the existing track surface, which we have paid for through Precision Sports. And now we're going to do the remaining amount of the work, which includes installation of the resilient track, marking of the lines per the standards, and there won't be any increase in the impervious area, so we don't have to worry about best managed practice.
Okay, Joe?
You're going down the track, wrong word. You're going down the path of what I was going to ask. I'm trying to understand,
Really?
the contract was terminated with Precision Sports?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, and why was it terminated? I mean, you said that they removed part of the track, they were in the middle of doing it, and then,
Well, Precision Sports decided that they couldn't complete the work as we requested, and therefore we had to go to the second bidder.
okay,
We
so,
requested that the work be completed. with the-
so we are terminating the contract then?
Yes.
That they didn't just walk off and?
No.
We determined that, okay, now it's kind of, I'm starting to recollect some conversation on this, but apparently they didn't understand our terms and conditions initially or something?
They agreed to our terms and conditions initially. They asked for a change order, and then after the change order was requested, they couldn't complete the work. They felt that they couldn't complete the work in a satisfactory condition based on our requirements from the original IFB.
As I recall from the memo, it's kind of mutual separation on this contract
Yes.
because they don't think they can complete it for what we approved on the purchase order, and
Right.
so they've kind of walked off. We're all going our separate ways and going to the next bidder.
That is correct.
And we're satisfied that we got that amount of work out of them, the 13 whatever?
Yes, we paid them $13,423, I want to say. There was also a 5% surety bond for Precision if they were unable to complete the work. We recouped that 5%, which was about $5,700, and there was about $3,000 in damages from removing the initial surface, which was some divots, some stuff where they gouged too far, which we also recouped those funds as well.
So it's been reduced down, but we still need to make another payment of 13,000? That's what I'm reading?
That is the payment that we needed to make to them. The original request from Precision was for $21,200 some odd dollars. After we reduced them from the 5% surety bond, as well as the damages, it reduced the payment to them to $13,423.
Oh, okay, so we took all our remedies and we're moving
Yes.
on. Okay, all right, thank you.
Kira?
Mr. Snipes, can you give us a sense of the impact on the timeline and how much, if at all, that's changed, and the impact on athletics at Jamestown?
American Tennis Courts, back on around September the 11th, provided us a memo that stated that they could complete the work, the installation roughly within 10 days, weather permitting. That weather permitting means that it has to be at least 70 degrees of weather, of good weather, for the next 59 days, just about, because they still need to order materials, because they could not order materials until the award was presented, and then they would begin to work.
So the temperature has to be above 70?
Yes. A direct quote from them is, it calls for a minimum of 70 degrees and rising when installing the surface.
When installing the surface?
Oh.
Okay, so if 9 o'clock in the morning, if it's 70 degrees and rising, they can install the
That's
surface?
right, yes, and I checked them. The next 7 days, we're supposed to have about 5 out of 7 days of 70-degree weather, but next week,
They're still ordering material?
right, they still order materials.
Okay.
Okay.
Ruth?
Sure, thank you. Would this this track mainly is used at spring, is
Yes.
that correct?
According to we talked to the AD at Jamestown, the track will begin to be used in February, and they can make additional arrangements if the timeline is not met. But
Okay.
And we need to approve this tonight so that we can open up the window for those 70 days.
yeah, we need to approve this tonight because the further that we get along, of course, during the winter, the less chance of 70-degree weather.
Okay, thank you.
You actually answered, I was going to say, what of our arrangements if we happen to not need that, so.
Yes, we have talked to
Okay.
the athletic director at Jamestown about those arrangements.
Okay, so this is on our agenda for 8.02 for approval of this. Any objection, is going to continue that. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Snipes.
Thank you.
Action items, 8.01, personnel actions. Can I have a motion?
I so moved. Approval of the personnel actions, 8.01.
Is there a second? It's been moved and second for approval of the personnel actions. Any discussion? Ms. Surza?
Ms. Cook?
Aye.
Mrs. Kardasco?
Aye.
Ms. Emanuel?
Aye.
Mr. Fuentes?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye. 8.02, contract award IFB number 15-8246, Jamestown High School running track resurfacing. Is there a motion for
Mr.
approval?
Chairman, I move that.
Second.
It's been moved and second for approval of the contract award IFB number 15-8246, Jamestown High School running track resurfacing. Is there any discussion? Ms. Surza?
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Cook?
Aye.
Mrs. Kardasco?
Aye.
Ms. Emanuel?
Aye.
Mr. Fuentes?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye. Thank you. 9.01, board member comments. Any board member comments tonight? Ms. Cook?
Sure. I'd like to announce that today the Williamsburg Board of Zoning Appeals approved a request from the school division for a variance in height to allow planning for construction of the fourth middle to go through. So that was a good thing. And then also I had a question about the Gallup poll that's being fielded. Will we get the results of that? And then also the community survey as well.
Yeah, the community survey is on the docket to come either the next meeting or the meeting after. We'll be presenting that. And then we do present the student information via the strategic plan because it's a key performance indicator in our strategic plan. So we'll get that.
Great, thank you.
Mrs. Cordasco?
I just wanted to say that we had a wonderful manufacturing day on Friday. We had our third annual, and I think it's starting to gel a little bit. Again, I want to say thank you to Kate Sipes, who really put it together with the support of her department and certainly of Mr. Russell Seymour. We changed it up a little bit this year. First year, we tried to get the kids to talk. They wouldn't talk at all. The second year, we tried to have a facilitator to ask them questions to get them to talk. They still wouldn't talk. So this year, we made them do the presentations. And they did them as a group, so we didn't put anybody on the spot. But it really seemed as if they were starting to understand that these are different options. I appreciate Mrs. Larson being there. She was supportive, and I think she got to go on a tour in a different area. We incorporated some feedback for one of our areas in the industrial park in Grove. That seemed to go over a lot better. And we had great community support as well. So I really want to say thank you again for just encouraging it and supporting it. It was very nice to see the kids there. I also had an opportunity to go to the Fireball Run space race finish line, and I believe that we had some support from one of our high schools there, and that was a big factor in them agreeing to come here. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt, but they also have an emphasis on recovering missing children. And they found over 40 children through the course of this. So it's something kind of frivolous that's paired with something important, and I just appreciated the fact that we had support there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I was disappointed I had to miss the manufacturing day this year. That I personally learned an incredible amount just visiting the companies and understanding what is available in James City County and Williamsburg, and the manufacturing possibilities that are out there. So it's very good. Ms. Emanuel?
I was wondering when we will know our enrollment for this year.
Yeah.
I will get you a summary of enrollment. I hesitate only because the September 30th date has passed, and we all know that that's a date that everybody looks at. In the next few weeks, we have to distill the information and look at the correct information. And in the past, we have shared numbers publicly on the 30th of September, only to find out that after scrubbing data for the next 3 weeks, that number was not, they're counting 11,300 students. There were some inaccuracies. So what I will do is share with the board the report that we have. We believe right now that we are 0.06% within projection, which is less than 10 kids. So the projection, we feel, at the moment is spot on. That number is going to change. Let me say that again. That number will change as the data is scrubbed and as we find coding errors and students who may have been miscoded or misidentified. Things happen in computer systems, and it needs human check. So when we're done with a check of all of those students, I still will say to the board that my prediction will be that the number of students will be very close to the prediction that we had, which was about 200 students more than we had last year, which is fairly significant growth for the school division.
Can you remind us what that enrollment projection number was? Do you have that?
I bet you Ms. Berta can help me. 11,316.
Sorry, say it again?
11,316.
And how does that track with what we were thinking with the future track? Are we?
We believe right now, and again, I say this, but I want to qualify it that this number will change. But right now, we're within 10 students of that number.
Okay.
That's 0.06% accurate. It's pretty close.
And where did when we had the data scrubbed last year, do you remember where we were in terms of what the number we thought we were going to have? And
my recollection is perhaps maybe 10 or 15 students either way. And it could go up or down.
Right.
It could be someone that hasn't been counted that needs to be counted, somebody that's been counted that has been misidentified or coded incorrectly in the computer. So again, knowing that I'm speaking on television and people will listen, we're going to be very close to our projection. I don't have that accurate number today, and we'll send you what we know in terms of the September 30th count.
well, we're on tape delay, so they can go and correct it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Mr. Fuentes.
And as soon as you said television, I've been meaning to ask this question. It used to be I'd flip through the channels and find on 47, like a couple times a day, this meeting running. But what is our schedule now for repeating the school board meetings? Is it used to be daily at 7 o'clock?
It's every day at 1 and 7.
Every day at 1 and 7?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure that's happening all the time because I've done that, but I will check it again. But I don't check it all the time. I just know that recently I've tried several times at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and nothing's been on, so.
We'll look into it.
All right, I'll-
Mr. Kelly,
I'm sorry.
I don't know where you are.
Anybody? Ms. Larson?
Thank you. It would be helpful to know also if you could give us what the enrollment was the last day. If we
Of
have
last
that
year?
information, like the last day of school, how we ended the school year. Yeah, you don't have to take the exact last day, but,
Sure.
towards the end to see
Yep.
how we tracked for the year, and then, okay. I also wanted to talk on Manufacturing Day. We had the Secretary of Commerce came this
Yeah,
year,
nice.
and it's an incredible event, and this is our third year getting some traction. We're getting kids there. Kids are still, I mentioned something to my daughter about going, and kids get a little worried about missing school, but hopefully if they have that support at schools, that this is a good thing, and you can learn and help you on your path to your future. And when I started explaining to her, she was like, "Oh, that sounds really neat." And we had I liked the way that the employers came up and talked to the kids and got them interested in what was going on. And then we had teachers that got engaged at the tables. I say that because, of course, this was it for me, for participating on the school division level and manufacturing day. So I hope to see it continue to grow and it's continue to be supportive. And I know that Val has done an incredible amount of work, as has Helen Mans, so appreciate all
sorry.
of that. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
It takes a village. So anyway, I just think I appreciate the support that the administration has given it. It's been a really neat thing. And even on a terrible rain, it was just terrible weather. And the companies were very welcoming, et cetera. So, and just a reminder, that we have Friday Night Lights. Everybody come out and support our teams. We have great volleyball. We have all kinds of sports events going on. So our schools would love to see you. And wanted to bring up about blatant buddies. You mentioned something earlier, but I did want to point that out. It's one of the really neat things about having the two schools that are next to each other. We have kids that come over from Hornsby and participate with the Blayton kids, and they were able to take that a step further today and participate in the first lady. They dressed up as corn, watermelon, carrots. I'm trying to think of everything. So that was really neat.
Peas.
And
I think we have a picture, actually.
do we? Okay.
Of you.
It's on
So,
Facebook. Yeah.
oh, that's right. And also the master gardeners that were out there today. We had a farmer from Surrey who was there that's been helping the kids. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of community support that has gone into that garden. And I think that's just a small sample of the community support that we get at all of our schools. And so just thank the SHIP people for all they did to make that happen. And I wanted to mention that Dr. Constantino obviously is very famous because the First Lady's Chief of Staff mentioned that he had followed Dr. Constantino's work on family engagement, as did the First Lady. So thank you for that. And I want to thank the members of the foundation board that are here this evening. When we first started with Lori, she said that when we asked people to be on this foundation, that we needed to let them know that this was a working foundation. I'm not sure they really understood the term. They were, oh, sure, yes. I'm talking stuffing envelopes, making phone calls, putting stamps. It is a true working foundation. And they have put in an incredible amount of work to help get this off the ground, and it doesn't stop with our kickoff next week. It continues. And so I think sometimes when we hear the word foundation, we think that these are just people in name only. These are truly people with boots on the ground that are really working hard to get this foundation started. And I'm very grateful to all of you. And I appreciate Clarence's leadership, and I'm sure he is regretting the day that Steve and I approached him and asked him if he might be interested in leading the foundation. So, but thank you very much.
At the risk of making your meeting go too long, really quickly, I did want to say thank you to all of our lunch sponsors for Manufacturing Day, including the Chamber and a few others. And the other thing is, we did have our very first Chamber, our Education Committee has been working on having some a business career explorers. And if you don't know explorers, it's actually umbrellaed out of the Boy Scouts organization, basically for safety and training and organizational purposes. It doesn't really have anything to do with scouting. You don't have to be a part of it. And we've had a very substantive medical explorers program where kids can look at careers. But if you remember, you authorized that we could do a little bit of surveying last year. And of the survey group, about fully 25% of them selected an attorney as their possible option, and they didn't seem to know that there were a lot of other options. So the Chamber did a whole lot of work over the summer. We actually had our kickoff on the 21st. Warhill graciously hosted us. It's not too late to be a part of the Explorers program, either one. Usually the medical Explorers meets at the hospital in Centera. It's open to not just Williamsburg, James City County, but to York County, homeschooled students, and it's just a great way for, again, kids to look at potential jobs. So the Business Explorers meeting is going to actually be hosted at the Chamber Building in the city of Williamsburg, again, centrally located, and I'd be certainly happy if anybody wanted to contact me for additional information, but it's all about helping kids know options, and that's what we want to do.
Any other board members? I know Manufacturing Day is I think is part of the routine now, and it's got momentum, and I know Mrs. Cordasco put a lot of effort in the last 3 years in getting that getting that started and then growing to where it is. And so I appreciate the good work that you've put there. And likewise, the Hornsby Buddies. I've watched one of the Hornsby Buddies as her class, the class that she works with, walked in. She named each one of the kids, and so she knew every one of their names, and that was pretty impressive. So I think the kids get a lot out of it, and from both the elementary and the middle school, and big help to the teachers. So with that, upcoming meetings. Closed session on 10/20, 5:15 for a student hearing and personnel at 6 o'clock. Regular meeting on October 20th at 6:30 p.m. And then we have a closed session on November 10th at 6 o'clock here in James Blair. And work session action items on November 10th at 6:30 here at James Blair. The October 20th meetings are at the county building in Mounts Bay at Building F. So with that, I think, Ms. Sirza, we've set the agenda. Without objection, Mrs. Larson, we are adjourned.